Hey folks, welcome to the September 3, 2024 Kubernetes SIG Docs meeting, bi-weekly meeting. I'm your host today. My name is Ray Lahana. I'm one of the co-chairs, along with Natalie Vlatko, who's on the call here, and Divya as well, who's it's too late for Divya's time's up. All right. Usually the first thing we like to some reminders. This meeting abides by the CNCF Code of Conduct, so that boils down to be kind to each other. And this meeting is also recorded and uploaded to YouTube as well. So if you'd like, yeah, please, please, if you don't want to share your video share, please turn it off. And I do have a question from the chat. How can I add something to the agenda? Yes, Natalie replied, you do have to be a member of the mailing list. You can just add yourself to the Google group, or you can just add it to the chat, as Natalie said, and we'll bring it up on the agenda as well. All right, so first thing we like to do for folks who are new to this meeting, if you'd like to introduce yourself, feel free to come off mute and do a little short intro.
Hi, my name is Cassandra. This is my first time joining you folks. I am a brand new wannabe contributor, and just looking right now to find the place where I can jump in and have something to offer.
Welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else would like to come off mute and introduce themselves?
I can also introduce myself. Hopefully, I don't have that many background noises because I'm currently at the conference. Yeah, hi, my name is Benjamin, and I also can contribute to currently anything to the SIG Docs group. But I'm here with a precise question that I wanted to add to the agenda. So hopefully we can discuss it.
All right, sounds good. All right, welcome, Benjamin. Anyone else that would like to come off mutes? All right, and also Benjamin, please add your agenda topic to the Zoom chat, and we'll bring it up. All right, so before we go on to the agenda, we do updates and reminders. So for folks who are new to this meeting, we have a PR Wrangler shifts. That means folks who are approvers for SIG Docs, they take turns and on a weekly schedule to review PRs for the week. And so this week's PR Wrangler, I forgot to share my screen. So this week's PR Wrangler is me. So if you have any PRs that need a review, please feel free to comment on the GitHub on the pull request. And hold on one moment while I share my screen. So feel free to comment or sign me, Ray Lahano, right here, if you have a PR that needs a review. And next week's PR Wrangler is Xander, and Xander's handle is Alexander. And I'm also the following week's PR Wrangler as well. So, and there's a link to the PR Wrangler shift. Along with the PR Wrangler shifts, we also have issue Wranglers as well. So I'm just this week's issue Wrangler. So issue Wranglers do the same. They triage issues in the Kubernetes website repository. And next week's PR issue Wrangler is Natalie. And there's a link to the issue Wrangler shift as well. And lastly, for our last update, if you notice any code of conduct violation at events, GitHub comments or Slack or meetings, you can reach out to the Kubernetes Code of Conduct Committee. You could do so anonymously. And there's a link to about more of the Code of Conduct Committee as well. All right, just starting off with the agenda before we go to any discussion topics, we like to talk about the upcoming release cycle or the current release cycle. So I know the 1.32 release cycle just started and shadows may not have been selected so far, but would anyone like to come off mute and give an update on the 1.32 cycle?
I don't have any update aside from what you said now. I'm excited to be the comms lead, and I'll do my best to make it not so painful with blogs. It was not painful last time, actually, very nice. But the last week was like very, I would say, rich of reaching out and back and forth. So I think I found some strategies that may work.
I do have a question since you're the comms lead, and this is fresh off my head. I know from the 130, I remember from the 131 release, we typically like to have just a release blog release on release day. But for the 131 release, there are multiple feature blogs release as well. Is that something new for the release team? Do we still want to maintain just a release blog being released on release day, or is it or are we also approving feature blogs to be released along with on release day as well?
So there was one blog in particular, the C group blog, that was like an exception, since it was more like important to have it contextually with the release blog. So I would say for now, the idea is only the release blog on the release day. And then if there's any exception to that, like last time, we're going to do it. But I think it was really just an exception. And the schedule should start like the day after.
Sounds good. I just wanted to clarify. Yeah, I know that was a very important blog to go out. So thank you for clarifying.
No worries.
All right. Any other updates? I don't know if anyone from the docs team is for the 132 release docs team is here, but if so, please come off mute. If not, we could go ahead. Next one, let's move on. Benjamin, I see your agenda topic is here about the code removal and if placement could be provided. Do you want to just bring this up?
Yeah, of course. So basically, like I came over the discussion that we were searching for like a replacement for Katacoda. And I mean, the discussion didn't mention any like successor of it. So I mean, if we are still looking for something different, then I may provide a replacement for it, because like I have a working, let's say, like training environment that works kind of the same as Katacoda did. It needs to be, or I need to put in some work, but I mean, I can totally provide something that hosts like a replacement for it. So I normally do like security trainings on the platform. I mean, we managed to spin up like 1,500 clusters in around 2 days with the platform, and it cost us around $17. So.
Okay. I've got a couple of questions. I've got a couple of questions for you, Benjamin. Natalie here. Hi. When you say the platform, have you got some more information there? Because as soon as you mentioned cost, that's going to be something that could be a blocker for us.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, the platform currently isn't open source. That's the main problem. It's also not. It's also currently like not in a state where I'm like feeling comfortable with like open source everything, but I'm currently on it. Let's say it like that. Because I also like hosted the CTF competition at the DEF CON, and I built the platform for CTF competitions, and it's basically if I use the platform for CTF competition or if I use it for the Kubernetes security, it's basically the same use case, right? With other, let's say, challenges.
Right. Yeah. So to catch you up on, in case it wasn't clear from the discussion, and especially for some of the new folks that are here as well around Katacoda. So as a TLDR, Katacoda was a bunch of tutorials and training platform kind of content that was free and open source provided by O'Reilly. And O'Reilly then made the decision to take that content back in to their paid service platform option, and they gave us us being the Kubernetes project, they gave us an exception of being able to use a certain aspect of it for some time, but then that decision also then became, no, actually we're going to take everything in and make it paid content again. So what we were using that for was generally to be able to get any new folks to Kubernetes to be able to engage in really good tutorial and training content that was free and open source, that didn't require them to have to register for an external platform of any kind. And that would also not exclusively be hosted and need to be hosted by us as well. And so we already have those kinds of requirements as like a somewhat of a minimum for a replacement. And that has been why finding a replacement has been a bit tough, because the next line of asks around that would then be, for all people who use Kubernetes around the world, it should possibly be accessible. So we're going to have hopefully folks, you know, from China who would test to make sure that they'd be able to access certain things and so on and so forth if possible. But we know that a lot of our wish list can't be granted. So I just want to give everyone a bit of a background on what happened and then what we're looking for and why it's kind of taking so long.
Matteo has his hand raised.
Maybe a silly suggestion. Killer Coda, have we ever considered it? Because I used it for some time. It has no content, but it can be used freely. I don't know if it's open source, but you don't need to register. And I used it for some interviews. When I used to interview people around Kubernetes, I would just like let them go on Killer Coda. And so actually a pretty awesome platform, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely considered. I think there was multiple options considered. Let me make sure it's on the discussion which ones were. Yeah, Killer Coda was as well. And
yeah, that's also why I was asking,
Toolkits.
because like it didn't mention like if there is a successor. It's kind of like or it seems like the discussion is still open. So I just wanted to, hook myself in.
Yeah, so the discussion is definitely still open, Benjamin, and I think it's awesome that you're considering. And I think the best thing to do would be in that discussion post also this information too, so it's not just only in this meeting, because I know a lot of the folks who are interested in this are not able to always come to our meetings or read this content here. Yeah, definitely repost in there, because I believe once there was a discussion for some time and then it kind of fizzled out a little. So this will hopefully revamp and a lot of interest and possible work into this. It was a little bit of work for us to even kind of offboard and kind of let everybody know that Katacoda was no longer available. So the choice to then take on something new would really need to be something that is then going to be around for some time. So I would want to recommend that if this is going to be something that is hosted by you, a private individual, that is unlikely to be a choice that we make, given, you know, the risk of that possibly being no longer online. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the folks. Yeah. I just want to say good points as well. That whatever platform that is chosen after Katacoda should have some longevity, since it does take a lot of effort just to remove the content as well. If there is a change or have any changes to the pages, that's actually quite an effort from us.
Okay.
Yeah, there was also an effort, I know, the GitHub as well. So the SIG contribx, they worked with GitHub as well for like some sort of testing and tutorial environment as well. So that's something that we haven't looked into, but we also can as well. But GitHub is donating some part of that for that infrastructure being held to the SIG contribx portion or SIG for their tutorial or their testing.
Okay, I mean, what I can probably do is I can evaluate some of the mentioned platforms in order to see if they can be integrated like quite easily, because I mean that's also something we need to like elaborate whether it makes sense or not to like integrate them, whether it's even possible to integrate them. Yeah, to like I mean, I can have a look at it and do a little bit of research, what could potentially be done and what not. And so, yeah, I think I will do it.
That would be really awesome and a huge help, Benjamin, for sure. Thank you.
Right. Any other comments or questions about the katacoda follow-up, or which should be used after katacoda? Right. So that's actually the end of our issues and PRs, and also our discussion topics as well. So if anyone has any other discussion topics or any other issues or PRs that they would like to bring up, please feel free to bring them up. Great. Well, thank you very much for attending. That's a wrap for this meeting for September 3. This meeting will thank you for those who attended. Also, thank you for those who are watching on YouTube as well. Stop the recording.